Welcome back to the second day of Advanced Algebra 2. Evidently, I didn't scare y'all off yesterday, which means that's either a good thing or maybe I need to try harder today. So, for one, hopefully you had a great first day. Hopefully your second day is going well. And let's just kind of jump into it. I'm going to share my screen and just kind of do some general, like, beginning of class announcements, just like I would do if I were there. So let me share the screen. There it is. Okay, so for those of y'all that haven't gotten into Google Classroom, I really recommend that you do so as soon as possible because any videos that I record, they're going to be posted there. So if you didn't catch something in the lesson because maybe you were sleeping or you had to step out and use the bathroom or whatever the case may be, you can go back and watch the videos. So as of right now, it's about 4:20 on Wednesday, so y'all are probably already heading home or you're in practice or whatever the case may be. But as of right now, 9 students have signed up for Google Classroom. So make sure you get your passwords changed and you get in there. That way you can access all the resources. And just as a reminder, we need to get our unilateral contract signed and back to the sub. Hopefully, I'm hoping that y'all can get them all back before I return, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I'll just keep hounding y'all even after I return. Now, if y'all prove me wrong, hot diggity. But I don't think y'all can get them back before I come back. But anyways, don't forget to get that signed if you haven't already. Same thing with your course syllabus. It's not wanting to pop up. There it goes. Make sure to get it signed and turn in only the second page to the sub. I don't need the first page. The sub doesn't need the first page. Only the second page where it has your name, your parents' name, and y'all's signature saying that y'all agree to everything in the syllabus. Make sure to get that signed and returned to the sub. Other than that, that's as far as first day or first of class announcements go. That's pretty much it. Hopefully you've remembered to put your phones in your backpacks along the front of the wall. That way when I get there on Monday, it's not new and you're like, I don't want to do that. I didn't do it last week. Do it now. Phones go in backpacks go along the front wall. With that said, you should have your notes by now. The sub should have passed those out to you. The notes packet will be the same packet for all of Unit 1. Oh, wait, before we do notes, the sub is going to pass out the answer document for the placement test y'all took yesterday. You're not gonna get your own back. She's gonna pass them out randomly and you're going to grade each other's. So the first thing I want you to do when you get whoever's answer document you're getting, I want you to make sure you're not writing in the same color that they wrote in. If they wrote in pencil, then try to grade in pen or highlighter or something like that. If they wrote in pen, then maybe grade in highlighter. I don't really like grading in pencil. But just grade in some other color than what they did. Now, I also want you to come down to the bottom of the answer document. Like, let's say this is their answer document that you can see on the screen. I want you to come down to the bottom and write graded by, and then your name. This is something that we may do frequently throughout the semester is grading each other's. Like, well, why do I need to put my name? Because if Susie is trying to help her boyfriend out, Bobby, and not counting his answers wrong when they're wrong, then guess what? I'm going to go back and regrade Bobby's, give him the right grade, and go back and take those points away from Susie's as well. So let's not try to think, oh, we're going to be sneaky and help each other out. No, because then you'll get the points that you should have taken off of someone else's, you'll get them taken off of yours. That's why we write who graded the paper. Okay. So all I'm going to do is go through the answers. I'm not going to work the problems. If you want to see a particular problem worked, then you'll need to come see me when I get back and we can go over it individually. But as a class, I'm just going to say these are the answers. It's either right or wrong. It's either right or wrong. Unless I say otherwise, they either get it right or they get it wrong. No in between. Okay, so for number one, the answer should be 13. Negative 13, I'm sorry, negative 13. For number two, the answer is 27. Number three, y squared minus 11y. Number four, x squared plus 3x minus 18. Number five, y cubed plus y squared minus y minus 1. Okay, on 3, 4, and 5, I can already, even though I'm not there, I can already sense this question coming up. Do they have to be in this order? No. If somebody wrote down negative 11y plus y squared, give them credit for it. Now, if they wrote down positive 11y plus y squared, then no. Excuse me. But if it's the same terms, they're just in a different order, then okay, give them credit. Same thing down here. If they said 3x minus 18 plus x squared, give them credit for it. As long as the signs match the terms, you're good. Give them credit. Okay, number 6. The answer is 6. Number 7. The answer is negative 35. X to the 7th. Number 8. The answer is x cubed over 2. Or they could write it as 1/2 x cubed. Either way works. Number 9. X is equal to 4. Number 10. Y equals 8. 11. X equals 5. Number 12. Y equals 2 ninths. Number 13. X equals negative 15 over 14. Okay, number 14. Give me 1 second. Hang on. Where did it go? It's hiding from me. There it is. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Too many papers. Not enough room. Okay, number 14. The equation. It can be something similar to this. So the equation would be let's see. Let me think about it. Say that's the solution is 5 hours. Equation. Somebody cue the Jeopardy theme song. You do something like 55x plus 70x equals 625. So something like that. Or alternatively, they could have said maybe 125x equals 625. Something along those lines. 15. The solution is 24 nickels. The equation if you have something like 0.05 times nickels plus for quarters, he has 5 fewer quarters than nickels. So nickels minus 5 and minus 5 times 0.25 equals 595. Okay, now here's what I'll say both on 14 and 15. If they got the solution and the equation looks reasonable, give the whole thing to them. Don't count a half off or anything like that. If they got the solution, just give 14 and 15 to them. Count it right. Because there's multiple ways, looking at both of these, there's multiple ways that they could have worked this problem. A single equation may not necessarily be their equation may not necessarily be an equation that makes sense to you. So if they got their right solution, that's what I really want you to focus on when it comes to giving them credit. 14 is 5 hours. 15 is 24 nickels. Okay, 18. Wait a minute. Where did 16 go? Oh, they're down here at the bottom. Okay. I'm just losing my mind here. Don't mind me. 16. The answer is x is less than or equal to 4. If they put down 4 is greater than or equal to x, give it to them. 17. You're going to have 3 and negative 3. They need both of those to get full credit. Now I can go to 18. 18. It's another one with 2 answers. They need 0 and they need negative 5. 19. Y is equal to negative 15. 20. It's a graph question. So on 20, they had to graph the line 2x plus 1. Put a point at 1. And then 2x sub 2 over 1. They don't have to put as many points as I'm putting. It just helps to draw the line straighter. Their line should cross at 1 and should have a slope of 2. Okay, 21. And to graph another line. This time the line has an intercept of 4 with a slope of negative 3. Again, they don't have to put all the points I'm putting, but their line does need to cross roughly where mine's going. Okay, 22. The x-intercept is at 2, 0. And the y-intercept is at 0, negative 10. 23, the slope is equal to 5. I'm just going to say m equals 5. M is slope. 24. 4x squared, y. 25. X cubed y plus xy cubed. 26. Q minus r over ps cubed. See if I can get this better. There we go. Okay. 27. 1 over x plus y. 28. Y is equal to 15. 29. N equals b minus 1 over 2. and then 30, x equals 5, and y equals 5. Okay, so on these, they're either all right or they're all wrong. So like on 22, where you have the x-intercept and the y-intercept, if they don't have both, it's wrong. It's either all correct or it's all wrong. So count up how many they got wrong, and put the number wrong up here in the top corner. So up here is where I want you to put the number wrong. And put how many they got wrong. And then you can pass it if you know them, you can pass it back to them. If you don't know them, just pass it to the sub. And then once you look at it, you can pause. I'll scroll down where you can kind of zoom out where y'all can see all the answers. Y'all can pause the video, take a look. If there's any that you have questions about, circle them, and I'll check them when I get back. There's all the answers right there on the screen. Pass the paper back to the person that's their paper. Let them check it, and then pass everything up to the sub. When you're doing that, get the notes packet out for today. And you'll probably want either a notebook or some notebook paper. I know you have a physical copy of the notes, but we're going to write some definitions down and we're going to work through those problems. So that one page probably isn't enough for all your notes. So I would not try to squeeze all my notes on that page. Okay, so let's look at our notes now. Today we're going to be looking at equations and inequalities. So if you kind of did rough on the equations portion of that placement test, then I would really make sure I pay attention today for today's notes. Okay, so there's our title, Unit 1, Day 1, Equations and Inequalities. Let's start with some vocabulary. Vocabulary. First word we're going to start with is an equation. What's an equation? So an equation is a math sentence that contains an equal sign. That's an equation. Think of an equation as like a sentence. The next one is an inequality. An equality is also a math sentence, but it doesn't contain an equal sign. It contains an inequality sign. Math sentence that contains we could have less than or equal to, greater than, or greater than or equal to. Those are inequalities. And then we have a solution. The solution is a number, or it could be multiple numbers. A number or numbers that replace a variable, or it could be plural, variables to make a math sentence true. Okay, so those are 3 vocab words that we're going to be using today. But then there's also kind of stemming off of the solution part. A solution set, just so y'all know how it's written, and when you see it on the homework, write your answers as a solution set. A solution set has curly brackets and then all the solutions in here. That's a solution set. Okay, so we've got like 9 problems to work. Let's just jump right into them. Numero uno. These problems are the ones that are directly from your notes handout. 1/8 minus 3/4 x equals 1/16. Now we have to solve all of these without a calculator. That's what the instructions say. Solve without a calculator. I don't know about y'all, but I really don't like fractions. Like when I have math nightmares, they usually involve fractions. Not really, but let's just go along with it. So how can I clear out all these fractions? Well, if I look at my denominator, my smallest denominator, which really is my biggest number, is 16. So if I multiply everything by 16, think of it like we're Oprah Winfrey here. You get multiplied by 16. You get multiplied by 16. Everything gets multiplied by 16. We're going to multiply everything by 16, and that's going to get rid of all of our fractions. Fractions won't be an issue anymore. So 1/8 times 16, that's like saying 16 divided by 8. That's going to give us 2. Minus 3/4 times 16. Some of y'all may know that in your head. You may be saying 12. You're right. It is 12. If you don't, you can think of it, okay, what's 16 divided by 4? 16 divided by 4 is 4. 4 times 3, 12. Equals 1/16 times 16. That's just 1. Subtract the 2 over. So now we're solving for x. Negative 12x equals -1. Divide by -12. And you're going to get x equals 1/12. Now, in geometry and algebra 1, that's probably how y'all left it. We're going to want to write this as a solution set. So, 1/12 as a solution set, you would do like curly brackets. Say 1/12, and then close the curly brackets. There's your answer. You don't even notice there's no X in there. It's just the brackets with the 1/12. Okay, let's look at number 2. Number 2 says -5/3 r minus 2r equals -11/9. Okay, again, we've got all these fractions, and we don't like fractions. So let's get rid of them. So I'm going to multiply everything by, well, what's my largest number here? What's my largest denominator? 9. So I'm going to multiply everything by 9. Okay, when I do that, 5/3, -5/3 times 9. Let's see. 9 times 5 is 45. If I divide 45 by 3, I get 15. So -15r minus 2 times 9, 18, equals -11. Okay, now let's combine our like terms. We've got -15r and -18r. Let's combine those together to get -33r equals -11. Divide by -33. And we're going to get r equals, well, -11 over -33 reduces to positive 1/3. But we're not done. We have to write this as a solution set. So do our curly brackets. Stick a 1/3 in there. There's our answer. Okay, moving right along to number 3. Number 3 says x plus 6/5 plus 2 1/5. That's weird. Equals 9/10. Okay. That 2 1/5 sure does look kind of weird sitting there. We typically don't use mixed numbers when we're doing equations. So let's fix that. How can I write 2 1/5? I could write this as 11/5. A little trick, do the 5 times 2 to get 10, and then add 1. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1, that's 11. So you have 11/5. So now I can kind of combine some like terms first. X plus, well, what's 6 plus 11? 17. So 6 plus 17/5 equals 9/10. And we still have those pesky fractions. So let's get rid of them. Let's clear them out. What's our smallest, or what's our largest denominator? 10. So we're going to multiply by 10. That's going to give us 10x plus, well, let's see. Well, I'm going to do 10 divided by 5 to get 2. And then 2 times 17, which is 34, equals 9. That way I don't have to end up doing 170 divided by 5. So work smarter, not harder. Even though I say that, half the time I do the opposite. I work harder instead of smarter. So let's move the 34 over. It's going to be 10x equals negative 25 divided by 10. If I divide 25 by 10, what do I end up with? 2.5. So I'm going to have x equals negative 2.5. But I have to do that solution set with the little fancy brackets. So let me write that in, and then we'll be done with number 3. There we go. I'll put some lines in here, make it look neat. I want red. I'm not angry. I don't want red. I want black. I want this line to be black, not red. There we go. Don't know why that one's like that. But anyways, I guess I probably need to. There we go. Now we're cooking. Okay, let's go down. Let's do number 4 now. Numero quattro. Now, number 4 says to do it with distribution and without distribution. So we're going to distribute first. We're going to do it with distribution. And then we'll work it the other way. Okay, what's it say? It says 1/4 times 6n plus 9 minus 1 equals -1. Okay, we need to distribute. They kind of give us a hint. It says do it with and without distribution. So let's distribute this 1/4 into the parentheses. Remember, I only go in the parentheses. So when you distribute, think of it like it's the Bluebell delivery man. The one for Lufkin would not distribute to Arizona. If he drove all the way to Arizona, he'd probably get tired. Unless he's on vacation, but then good luck getting your ice cream to last till you get to Arizona. But anyways, you only distribute within the parentheses. So 6 times 1/4, I'm just going to leave that as 6/4. N plus 9/4. Now I'm outside the parentheses, so I just copy down what's left. Okay, we still see a bunch of fractions, so what are we going to do with the fractions? Let's get rid of them. So multiply everything times 4 to get rid of the fractions. That's going to give us 6n plus 9 minus 4 equals -4. We can combine some like terms here. We can combine the plus 9 and the -4 together. And say 6n plus 5 equals -4. Move the 5 over. We're going to get 6n equals -9. We divide by 6. We get n equals -3/2. Let's write our solution set, and then we can call it done for this part of this problem. So do our brackets with the -3/2. And there's our answer. Now, it also said to do this problem without distribution. So let's do it like it says. Let's do it without. I'll write it again. 1/4 times 6n plus 9 minus 1 equals -1. Okay, so there's multiple ways to do it without distribution. But this is, when I think of it this way, when I think of this as like one big X right here, that allows me to do it without distribution. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. That's going to give me 1/4 times 6n plus 9. But -1 plus 1 is equal to 0. What? I got 0. That's okay. Just we can deal with it. Multiply by 4 on both sides to get rid of the 1/4. Well, that's going to leave me with 6n plus 9 is equal to what? 0 times anything? 0. If I subtract my 9 over, I get 6n equals -9. Whoa, I think I've gotten that somewhere before. Well, that doesn't look like a 9. That looks like a I don't know what. There we go. Look, see, now we're back to that step. So I'm not going to keep working it because it's the exact same steps as what we just did. But anyways, that's 2 different ways you can work a problem like that. Personally, I like doing it without distribution. That way I don't have to distribute and then combine like terms and all of that. Just treat what's in parentheses as one big X, move everything else around that you can, and then tackle what's in parentheses. Okay, let's look at number 5. Number 5, they're going to throw decimals at us. 0.3t plus 1.4 equals 4.2 minus 0.1t. Okay, let's move our t's over to the left. That's going to give us 0.4t plus 1.4 equals 4.2. Subtract the 1.4. We're going to get 0.4t equals 2.8. If I divide by 0.4, now think of this as like 28 divided by 4. 28 divided by 4, you know, is 7. So 2.8 divided by 0.4 is also 7. T is equal to 7. We have to write it in that set notation. So do our curly brackets, write our 7, and there's our answer. All right, again. There we go. Okay. cruising along. We have 4 more examples left, and then we're done. And then y'all have to listen to me talk for the rest of today. Unless you have to go back and watch the video, and that's on you. Okay, number 6. Seven thirds times m plus 1 minus m over 3 equals 2m minus 5/6. Okay. What I would do is actually do distribution on this one. So let's actually distribute. We'll get 7m over 3 plus 7 over 3 minus m over 3 equals 2m minus 5/6. Now you may be wondering why I said distribute. That's so that way we can go in and we can combine these like terms right here. The m over 3's. 7m minus 1m gives you 6m. So you have 6m over 3. Well, what is 6 divided by 3? 2. So you have 2m plus 7 over 3 is equal to 2m minus 5 over 6. Move your 2m's over. I know we still have fractions, but just bear with me here. Move your 2m's over. You're going to get 7 thirds is equal to negative 5/6. This is not true. 7 thirds is not equal to negative 5/6. So that means there is no solution. Now, how do you write no solution as a solution set? It's like a 0 with a big slash through it. Not an arrow. Slash. Hang on. That means no solution. That symbol literally means nothing. So you're like, there is a set with nothing in it. It's like the memes that you see where it's like, this is how much I care about the world right now. And then there's nothing in the picture. Meaning you don't care. Yeah, that's the empty set. This is how many solutions there are to this equation. None. Okay, let's look at number 7. Number 7, 5/2 minus 2a equals 1/2 times 5 minus 4a. Okay, so what I'm going to do at this point is get rid of my fractions. This time I do want to get rid of the fractions. I'm going to multiply everything times 2. Okay, so 5/2 times 2, that's just going to be 5. So 5 minus 2 times 2 is 4 equals. Now this half and this 2 cancel out, and I'm just going to bring down the 5 minus 4a that's in parentheses. So look what we have here. We have an equation that says 5 minus 4a is equal to 5 minus 4a. That's like saying a horse is equal to a horse. Not really. When this happens in math, we say that the solutions are all real numbers. It doesn't matter what you plug in for A. It's still true. The math sentence is still true. You can plug in 0, you can plug in negative a billion, you can plug in 1,587,962. Still going to be true. So when that happens, we say that the solution is all real numbers. And there's a symbol for that. The symbol for that is like an R with kind of like two lines. It's like a bold R. Looks like that. So our solution set is going to be the curly brackets with the all real number symbol in it. There we go. There's number 7. We've got 2 more left. Okay, number 8. Number 8 says we have to graph the solution on a number line. So let's see. Negative 10/3 R plus 5/3 R is greater than 35/6. Okay, now I know we've got a bunch of fractions. First, let's combine like terms over here on the left. Negative 10/3 plus 5/3. It's going to be negative 5/3. Negative 5/3 R is greater than 35/6. Now we can clear the denominators. So what's our smallest number? Our smallest, really it's our largest denominator. I keep saying that backwards. The 6. So we're going to multiply everything times 6. Well, 6 divided by 3 is 2. 2 times 5 is 10. So we're going to have negative 10R is greater than 35. We divide by negative 10. 35 divided by negative 10 is 3.5. But when you have a negative, when you divide or multiply by a negative, you have to flip your inequality. But maybe you make a note of that. I'm not going to write it down, but you might want to write down when you divide or multiply by a negative, you have to flip the inequality. So that's our solution. But we have to graph on the number line, so we're not done yet. We still have to do our number line down here. And I want it to be black. Okay, so now I'm gonna put, maybe I'll put like 3 right here, negative 3. I'm gonna put, let's see. We're gonna put negative 4 way down here. That means I would come in and say, okay, negative 3.5 is right here. Well, not, that looks terrible. Negative 3.5 is right there. So negative 3.5. There is no line underneath right here. So that means it's going to be an open circle. It's going to be an open circle over that tick mark. and it's less than. Think of the less than. That's like telling me the direction. It's telling me go this way, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. So I'm going to shade that direction and put like an arrow. There's my solution on the number line. And then our last example. It says 7x plus 1 over 8 minus 1 is less than 7x over 8. Okay, again, let's go and clear our denominators. Let's get those out of there. So I'm going to multiply everything by 8. Well, that means this whole first fraction just becomes 7x plus 1. 8 times minus 1 is negative 8. Is less than 7x. Okay, so I'm going to move this 7x over. 1 minus 8 is negative 7. Is less than 0. Is negative 7 less than 0? Yes. So our solution would be all real numbers. It doesn't matter what x you plug in, that's going to be true. We don't have to graph this one on a number line. They don't tell us to. So we're just going to write our solution set as all real numbers. Okay, so there's our notes for the first day of Unit 1. This is honestly how the notes are going to be for advanced. If you're like, my gosh, just took all period. That's how advanced is when you get to Algebra 2. You're going to have, I don't want to say a ton of homework, but a good bit of homework because our notes are longer. They go more in depth. And so, yeah, I mean, that's really all I've got to say for that. In the words of Forrest Gump, that's all I got to say about that. So, you have your assignment. If I were you, I would start working on it. And then that way you have less work to do tonight because it is due tomorrow. You'll turn it into the sub tomorrow. So start working on that. Do it on your own paper. You see how much work I showed? That's how much work I want y'all to show. Don't just say, here's the equation. Here's the answer. I'm done. I want to see your work. I can't see where you messed up if you don't show any work. So, anyways, thanks for a great day. Always remember, you're loved. You are created to do wonderful things, and you are awesome. Always believe.